Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today with a birthday card that I've made for my mother-in-law. This time I decided to challenge myself and not use everything to make my card with the Cricut. I decided, because I have so many punches and dies, that I was going to use some of my dies and my punches along with just a small item from my Cricut. So what we will be using to make this card is, we will be using the Flower Shoppe cartridge, but we will also be using the Tim Holtz Tattered Pinecone die, and then we will be using some of the Cheery Lynn Dies dies. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so let's bring up the supplies so we can get started making the card. So as I said, with this card I decided that I was going to try using some of my punches and my dies and not do everything from the Cricut, even though that's what I typically do when I make my cards. But I have so many dies and so many punches, I thought I better start using them. So now, this card measures 9 inches by 4.5 inches. And I've taken and scored it in half to make it a 4-inch by 6-inch card. Or, I'm sorry, 4.5-inch by 6-inch card. And this cardstock that I'm using is some of the Joann Fabric textured linen cardstock. And what I've gone ahead and done is I've gone ahead and inked my edges using the Tim Holtz Distress ink, and we'll be using the tea dye today. So now we're going to put our top layer on, and the top layer is from a paper pack that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and it's this, and it's called Antique Dots, and this is a My Mind's Eye paper stack. So it basically has paper with circles on it, and I kind of like this because you can use this. I actually got it to make my envelopes as well, but it can be used to make masculine cards. So now this piece, if I didn't say before, measures 4 inches, oh I'm sorry, 4.25 inches by 5.75 inches. And I think I gave the wrong measurements for the card as well. I think I said 9 inches by 6 inches. And I took it and scored it in half to make it a 4.5 inch by 6-inch card. So sorry about that, I gave out the wrong measurement. So now let's get some tape on here using our 2-way zig pen. And I want to make sure I have this lined up the right way because I've got some light pencil marks in here for where I'm going to put my circle and where I'm going to put my strip of paper. So let's get the ATG gun out, and I'm not adding ribbon, so I can go ahead and put my tape on. And then I can add this to the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my card, and then I'm going to add my top layer. And I've also inked this as well using the tea dye Distress ink. So we'll just line this up right here, and we want to make sure we get that on straight, not crooked. And then I'm just going to press all the way around. So now what we want to do is we want to add our circle. Now what I've done is I've used the metallic paper that's by Recollections, and this was some scrap that I had left over from the Christmas cards. And I did go ahead and cut this out on the Cricut using my Gypsy, but you don't have to use your Cricut to cut this out. It's just that I wanted my circle to be 2 3/4 inches round, and I didn't have a 2 3/4 inch punch for the circle, but if you have one, you can use that. So what I used was the George and Basic Shapes, but if you remember, if you go out to your Gypsy and you can do a search by touching or tapping the little Cricut bug, and then you can type in circle, which I did already, and then tap OK. You will get, and since we just want a basic circle, if you tap on circle, what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to find every cartridge that has a circle on it. And there are quite a few, so that's going to take a minute to find. But as I said before, if you don't have a Cricut or the Gypsy, you can use a punch, or you can also use a Spellbinder's die to get your circle. I don't know the sizes on the Spellbinder's dies, but you want to get one that's close to 2 3/4 inches. So now I want to have my circle line up about right here. That's where I have my pencil mark. So I'm just going to get some tape on the back of here. And I've also gone ahead and inked the edges with this as well, with the tea dye. And we're going to place our circle about, I'm going to get over just a little bit here, about right there. And I'm just going to press down to make sure that's adhered properly. So now I'm going to go back to the Gypsy real quick and show you the mini circle cartridges, or cartridges that have a circle on it. So as you can see, there's quite a few as I go down. So just because you don't have the George and Basic Shape, you can search for a circle. So I'm going to get back out of that and go back to my mat real quick. So now the next thing we're going to add is I've cut a strip of paper, and that strip of paper is also from the Antique Dots My Mind's Eye paper, and this piece measures 3/4 of an inch by 1 inch. So I'm going to line this up right here, and then I want to go ahead and tape that down. So I'm going to use my Tombow again, and I've gone ahead again and inked my edges using the tea dye, and I've marked lightly with the pencil where I want this to line up. So I'm just going to press that down, and I've got just a little bit of the tape on there, so I'm going to take my adhesive remover and just get rid of that real quick. Okay, so now the other thing that I have used the Gypsy for, and the Cricut, is to make this little flower here. And this is from the Flower Shop cartridge. And what I've done is I've cut, they're calling it the Sunflower. So I've cut the Sunflower 2 and then the Sunflower 4. So now, and that is on page 17 of the handbook. So now let's bring up the Gypsy, and the Sunflower 4 was cut at 2.5 inches, and we're going to go to that Flower Shop cartridge, and that would be key number, I believe that's 36. So it looks like this. And what you can do is, if you're not going to put the, which I wasn't going to and I didn't think about it because I originally designed this card a different way, you can hide the hole in the center if you're not going to use that hole. But at the time when I cut it, I was going to use it, and then I changed my mind. So that, as I said, was cut at 2.5 inches, and then the top sunflower, which is sunflower 2, I believe. Let me make sure. Yes, that's sunflower 2. So that one is cut at 2.25 inches. And that is key number 16. And it looks like this. So that's basically what I cut using the Cricut and the Gypsy. So I'm going to just line this up right now for right here, because the next thing I want to do is I want to talk about my flower, which looks like this. Now for the flower, what I did was, and I got this idea from Tanya. Her YouTube channel is Psycho Moms, and I'll put a link to her video up here in the corner on how she did the flower. But I used the Tim Holtz die, and this is the Tattered Pinecone. And I never thought until I watched Janice's video that I could use this as well to make a flower rather than the pine cone. So what I did is the same thing that as Tanya did, and that was I used some felt. And my felt looks like this. And I just went ahead and ran the die through my Vagabond, and when it cuts out like this. Now, the thing about this is, I believe Tanya was using tweezers to roll her flower. I actually have a petal roller fabric tool that allows me to actually put my, get it in there. It allows you to put fabric in between here to start your roll. So now I can just go ahead and start rolling my flower. Like so. And then once I get a good roll. And the thing is, also I noticed I don't know why I keep saying Janice. I apologize, Tanya. But I think it's because I just got through watching one of Janice from Cricutology video, so I have Janice on my mind. But what she did was she used hot glue to roll her flower. But I noticed that I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. The felt kind of sticks to itself, so you don't necessarily have to. And I just keep rolling and rolling and rolling until I've completed the flower. And it kind of, like I said, it kind of sticks to itself, so you don't necessarily have to glue it. What I've done when I made this one is I just glued it in the back. So that's basically what your flower will look like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the outside of the envelope, but because when I initially put the felt on the die, I had it face up, and I actually want the colors of the felt to show through. So I went back and ran it through again with the I'm sorry, it's the other way. I started off and I rolled it this way, and that made it come out like this. So I went back and flipped it back over, and then I cut out 2 of them, and I glued them together so I could get a larger flower. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to take it loose, and I'll go back and I'll roll it so that the colors of the felt will show on the outside. And you'll see that at the end of the video when I do the pictures and I show the envelope and the card together. So now I'm going to zoom back. Sorry, don't mean to make you dizzy. So I'm just going to put this on here for now because that's where I want it to lay. So the next thing I'm going to add is my bottom scallop layer here. Now this, I use my Martha Stewart Scroll Dots punch, but I did find if you want to use your Cricut or your Gypsy and you have the Martha Stewart, okay, it's called the Martha Stewart Cake Art, and I'm sorry, Martha Stewart All Occasions Cake Art, and I did not have that cartridge, but I knew I had the scroll dots. So what I did, just so I could design my card and see how it was going to look, is, and as you can see, remember from my tutorials, if it's in red, it means you don't own the cartridge, but you can still design with it just to see what it's going to look like and if you decide you want to buy the cartridge. So because I knew I had the scroll dots, I decided to just take the Martha Stewart All Occasions Cake Art and put that on there so I could see what that was going to look like on my card. And I have that. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it. So you see I have it down there in my card like so. So that way I get to see, you know, what it looks like. So now we're going to get some tape on the back of here and we're going to add this to the card. And I'm not adding my flour just yet because I want to go ahead and put my inside sentiment in. So I'm just going to line this up, and I want just a little bit of my other layer showing at the bottom here, so I'm going to line this up and press this down. So now, before we add the rest of our embellishments, I'm going to put my inside sentiment in. For the inside sentiment, I've gone ahead and typed out on my computer the following verse: warm thoughts, happy times, and pleasant memories are so much a part of you. And because you mean so much, this wish comes to you, and especially happy birthday, hoping you have a wonderful day. And once I printed this out, and the font is Lucida Calligraphy at 12 point. Once I printed it out, I then went and cut this out to fit within my card. And I don't do any exact measuring with this. I just keep cutting it till it fits. But I did measure this out, and it measures out to be 4 1/4 by 5. And then what I've done is I've taken my We Are Memory corner chopper, the Deco Edge, and it's the one with the green handle, and punched out each corner. And then I took the tea-dye ink and inked my edges. So we're just going to use our ATG gun and get some tape along here. And make sure we get some on our edges so that it stays down when we adhere it. And then I'm just going to add this to the inside of the card, like so. Okay, so now let's move back to the front of our card and start adding everything back on as far as our embellishments. So I've already gone ahead and glued the 2 flowers together, and I'm going to place those right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Tombow adhesive and get some tape on here, and then I'm just going to add this to the circle. And I'm going to add it about right there. I think that's where I want it. And then I'm just going to press down on all of the leaf edges to make sure that it stays down. So now we can add our flour, which looks like this. And I'm going to take the glue gun and just get some glue all on the back of here. And then I'm just going to add my flour here in the center, like so. And then I'll press down and kind of just fluff it out a little bit. So there's our flour. So now let me talk about the butterfly. The butterfly is from a die set that I have that is a Cheery Lynn Designs, and I've shown these before, and I'm sorry for this glare, but the way they work is they come 3 in a pack, and you'll get your bottom layer, and what you'll do is you'll take your die, and this is the one I used, and you'll put this on the fold of your cardstock, and you want to line it exactly up there on the fold, and then you'll go ahead and run it through your Big Shot, Vagabond, or your Cutterbug, whichever one you have. And then what you'll get once that comes out is you'll get this folded piece like this. So you can just go ahead, if you like, and just use this. And what I've done is ink the edges with the tea dye. But because I wanted that intricate cut, and you don't always get the intricate small cuts when you're using the Cricut, I then took the other piece, and that's a separate die, and let me take those out, and you get 3 of them like this, and I've gone ahead and used this one, and I picked these up on a haul. I believe this was when I went to the CHA show last year. But if you're interested, the die number for this one is D11113A, and it's the 2-layer die by Cheery Lynn Designs. And then this one right here is the D11113. So what we'll do now is we're going to take, and I'm going to get some glue using my 2-way zig pen on the back of here so we can put these two together. And I'm just going to be gluing in the center, like so. And then I'll add that to my base. And press down. So what I want is for it to pop up like that. And I'm going to place that right there. But before I add that, I do want to put my happy birthday down. And I also got to put a little bling there. So let's put the happy birthday down. Now I'm using a stamp that is from the Close to My Heart Celebration packet, and this came with the Art Philosophy cartridge. So we're going to stamp out Happy Birthday, and I've already stamped it out on my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. So let's get the black Memento ink, and we're going to use that. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to open up my card. I want to line it up because I want the happy birthday to go right there. And I probably should not have added the flower because I need to get my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig in there. So this is going to be a task. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the flower, and then I'm going to come back and we'll add the happy birthday. And in case you're wondering how I'm going to remove that, I'm going to use my heat gun to just go ahead and remove the flower, and then we'll just add it right back. So let me do that, and I'll be back. Okay, everybody, rather than trying to remove my flower with the heat gun and so forth, I just decided I'm going to eyeball this. And I'm going to get this on here without using my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. So I kind of know where exactly I want it. So I'm just going to line this up. And before I forget, I like to use my mat here so I can get good coverage. So let me bring that up so we can make sure we get enough pressure underneath before we stamp. So now I'll line this up again, and I'm just going to press down. And there you have it. I've got my happy birthday on there. So now we can add our butterfly. And we'll just take and place our butterfly about right there. So before I glue this down, I'm going to take my glue gun to do that. I want to add my actual bling here in the middle, right there. So I'm going to use my eye rock tool to do that. So let me move this. And I have some small, very small gems that work with the eye rock tool. And it has the adhesive already on there. So we'll pull one of those out. And we're going to line it up where we want it. And then we're going to press and use our eye rock tool. So I'll do that, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have my bling on my butterfly. As you can see, it's right there. So now I'm going to take and put just some glue back here on the back. A thin line. And I'm using a hot glue gun because I want this to pop up a little. So, and then I'm going to place my butterfly right here. Like that. Okay, so now we can't just leave it just like that. We need just a little bit more bling. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my bling, and then I'll be back with the finished card. Okay everybody, so I am back with the finished and completed card. So what I did was I added some bling down here, and this comes as a strip that looks like this, and you just peel this off. And I picked this up at the CHA haul as well. And then I had just a small tiny piece that was left over because it was hanging over here. So rather than waste that, I just cut it and I used it up here in the top. And then I took some pearls that I received in a rack from Skylar and Logan, and I added those to the points of the leaves. So that's it everybody. That's my finished birthday card for my mother-in-law. Thanks for watching everybody. Bye.